Good evening. Tonight, all the news that fits, and we have a lot of it. K2 Space raises a $250 million C round to build mega-class sats. We're going to learn what those are. Private cap is now targeting mission-critical infrastructure. Investors commit $250 billion for gigasats. I have no idea what they are. We're going to find out. Overview Energy proves that space-based solar power system works in motion. We'll learn more about that. Antares has lined up $96 million for a microreactor rollout. D-Orbit just passed a 200 payload milestone. The Luxembourg government has committed 265.1 million euros for space efforts. Virgin Galactic announces a capital realignment, and their shares have dropped significantly. And plus, there's a whole lot more I haven't even mentioned here tonight. We'll see how much we can pack in. From the news desk at the Center for Space Commerce and Finance, my name is Thomas Andrew Olson, and this is The Unknown Quantity. And as you know, this program is sponsored by the Center for Space Commerce and Finance. And what do? We champion and strengthen emerging space startups and space-adjacent enterprises worldwide through advisory, access, and advocacy, our pitch events, and world-class boot camps, fortify startups to be better investor-ready. Now, a lot of our work, especially this podcast, is supported by our listeners and fans like you. Remember, the Center is a 501c3 nonprofit. And this is a time of year where everyone asks, of course, to dig deep. Your email box is full of that stuff. We're sending our own annual appeal letter out right now, and it's actually supported on our website right now. If you go to our website under the news and blog section, you'll see it linked there. Our annual appeal. Read it all. You can find out everything we've done this past year. It's a lot, and all the great things that we want to do next year, which we could use your help for. And there's another link right there where you can donate vast quantities, and we'll be doing really, really well, and we'll do it all for you. And thanks so much for your help. Now, having said that, my oldest space friend, Michael Lane, who just set a cleansing flame on his back deck, is here with us. Michael, come on in, man. I know you're there. There he is. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. It's been a long few days, but I'm all right.
Yeah.
I actually went to an interesting party. It was I don't know if you know who Tom Woods is. He's a libertarian-oriented podcaster and author. He's authored a whole bunch of books.
Okay.
Like The Politically Incorrect Guide to American History and a bunch of other really, really great things. And he's very funny. And he has a bunch of people that are kind of in his circle over to his house for a holiday party, and we went down, and we couldn't find the place. Took forever to find it, and we got a hotel near there, so we wouldn't have to drive the 70 miles back to our house. And but it was a fun time. They did a game show. He wanted to be a game show host, and so they picked a blast from the 1950s called "What's My Line." Some of you may remember this, and they recreated it.
Cool.
And it live in real time with a bunch of people hanging around. It was an absolute gas to watch. It was very funny. The dinner was catered. God, it was incredible. The caterers, I got their business card for future reference. Oh, that was amazing. It was amazing food. And so a fun time all around with about 70 people that I did not know. So I just had to dive in. That was a whole different world. But that was the world I got involved in when I took the marketing course and did all the other stuff.
Right. Yeah, sure.
And so I had, I did that. But now the time will come when I get to start pulling some of them into our world. Right. And so that's the whole point of all of it, isn't it?
Right. Exactly. I mean, that is the point why you did all that stuff for sure.
Yeah, I know. But it's exhausting. It's like, okay, but I'm going to do it. Sometimes you just don't feel like doing shit. You know this, but you
Yeah.
got to bring it. You got to bring it every day. You got to get up
Every
and
day,
you got to
right?
do it. So
The one who wins is the one who just keeps showing up,
you
right?
get up, or you
Right?
get up one more time and you got knocked
Right.
down.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of
Say,
how the year has been. I've got a lot of doors slammed in my face, but some new ones opened this year. They've been pretty amazing.
that's
So
the key, right? Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm
Oh,
hoping to end this year on a really big note. So
good.
right?
We still got a couple weeks to do that too, as you know.
Yep.
We're still hoping for it.
Yep.
How are you doing? Where you been? Were you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm doing a lot of stuff for mom back and forth to the hospital. She's doing great. Nothing
Good.
to worry about. Nothing to worry
Good.
about at all. But these are all follow-up appointments, right?
Good.
So
Good
yeah,
deal.
it's good. It's good. We got hit with a gigantic storm, which I'm really used to having grown up here,
Uh-huh.
but it is causing chaos out here.
Uh-huh.
Power's flickering, internet's going in and out. People are getting rerouted for traffic. Let me put some pictures up. This is actually breaking news, and I mean breaking in the worst way,
Because things
because
are breaking, right?
a levee broke about an hour ago. And
I forgot you had levees. I knew you had a couple of floating bridges.
right. No, well, the floating bridges actually those sunk about 10 years ago. So there's long stories about we've had two bridges that sunk, and those are pretty entertaining stories, but not today's night. Not today's story. So among other things, the Green River is going crazy. It's way above flood stage. For
Wow.
the for the
Ooh,
most
look at
part,
that.
yeah, it's so everybody knows that Seattle, I think people know that Seattle is the home of Boeing. So we've got this area called the Kent Industrial Valley, and I think it is one of the most important points in America, and their supply chain makes Boeing fly. But they also do all this other thing too. I think they're going to become a robotics center in the country. This is what makes everybody remembers that SpaceX and Amazon's Leo are both built here in the Pacific Northwest, just about 40 miles north where this is happening. And really critical components to this industry are being, overwhelmed. So this levee broke, it spilled into everywhere else. This is our Kent Industrial Valley here. Fortunately, a lot of the water went into farmland, but on the edges, this is Boeing Field, and Blue Origin and Stoke and Portal and Starfish. They're about in this area, and then some of them are down this direction. So,
Wow.
this is stuff that's happening like right now, and they're closing down freeways. This freeway is not that one. This freeway is shut down. This freeway is shut down, and this freeway is shut down.
No?
So,
Wow.
hours-long traffic jams at the very least today. So it's going to have impacts. It will have impacts in our sector starting this evening. So
Okay. Have the storms subsided at all,
they
or?
really haven't. This is hopefully the end. We've had basically a week and a half of nonstop rain. More than 15 inches of rain in the last week. The mountains have gotten more than 20 or 25 inches of rain, not snow, rain in the mountains. So that's melting a bunch of other stuff. You can kind of see the quality of the water. It's just mud, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, we're all kind of watching this really, really close. I have nothing to worry about. I'm on the top of a hill, so for me, it won't individually impact me, but for the region, it's pretty spooky. Yeah.
I remember being down that. I remember being in that area. I lived in that area when, not in Seattle, but down in Portland, when Mount St. Helen blew up.
Oh yeah.
All the rivers looked like that. for like
right,
weeks.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, all right. I'm going to go there for a second because I've had this theory that's been hard to prove, but this much water is an insane amount of weight, right?
Yep.
This they call it an atmospheric river if it comes off of Hawaii or off of Japan. And the second hit that we got was called a Pineapple Express, and that comes off of Hawaii.
Yeah.
And between the two of them, that's why I say 15 to 25 inches of rain. That much weight has caused earthquakes, and we had an earthquake this afternoon about 3:00.
Sure, it soaks into the soil, it leaches down in, and now you're going to get the slides.
Oh yeah,
you're going to get the mudslides and the landslides. Oh yeah, that can also block all the roads without flooding.
Exactly. I drove up to my house yesterday and some windy roads. Well, I guess it was a couple days ago. Some windy roads, and there were all these little rocks in the road. Nothing that was an actual landslide, but you could tell stuff had come loose. So,
there's that whole area from British Columbia down through the Bay Area, in California, is prone to stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
stay safe, man.
So,
good luck.
Well, if Mount Rainier pops off, I'm going to be offline for a little while, right? I'm close enough to Rainier that I'm going to have a really bad day. So, yeah. All right.
Yeah, it depends on which direction it goes. Yeah.
Hey, Jason, nice having you back, buddy. I know you've been on the road a lot. It's nice to see you again.
So let me open up the chat room. Let me do that. Come on. There we go.
Yeah.
There they are.
Right. K2
Jason and Jason. Okay.
Jason's
sure. Maybe we'll get more later. Okay, what's up? We already showed you our annual appeal letter. So what's up first? I just put this in order just for giggles. This outfit called K2 Space is raising 250 mil, or has raised it to scale what they call mega class high power satellites. Now you might wonder what the heck it is. This round followed 500 million in signed contracts with actual commercial operators and government customers. And it's the round is led by Red Point, with participation from accounts advised by T. Rowe Price and Lightspeed. I know them. Alpine Ventures. I know them. But were founded 3 years ago, and they're building satellites sized for vehicles such as Falcon 9, Starship, and New Glenn. They're building big ones. They're not building little CubeSats. They're building the big guns, the big trucks.
Yeah.
And the aim, this is a new class of big satellite that it's larger, it's higher powered, but it can operate in any environment, whether it's low, medium, or geostationary, rather than a single orbital regime.
Yeah.
A multi-orbit high power platform for comms and workloads.
What they're doing. Yeah. I'm going to read their quote. Their approach isn't incremental. They're rethinking satellite design from the ground up, and the result is a platform that can support entirely new classes of missions. That's why we're confident in this team and their trajectory. That's from T. Rowe Price investment analyst Jason LeBlanc.
Yep. That's pretty. Yeah.
We've spent 20 years. I guess the CubeSat standard has probably been around about 20 years. Came out of I think UC Santa Barbara, if I remember right. And it was the anomaly, right? And it was the thing that I have talked to 3-star generals that said CubeSats are just debris as far as he was concerned, right? They're just in the way of all the tracking they want to do. That was, I remember that conversation. I'm not going to name the general because he's retired now and he's deeply out of touch. But so we went all the way, and Logan, Utah was hosting the small set conference, and it became a really major conference after a while. And then And then these punks at K2, they're like, we're done with that. We don't need to worry about that kind of microsat, picosat anymore. We are going the other direction. I think that's super cool. I think it's kind of brave and pretty innovative. So,
well, they're also saying here that they're going to their milestone next year is the first space firing of a 20 kilowatt Hall effect thruster.
Huge, right?
That's 4 times more powerful than anything that's been built and flown so far. And they're also deploying 2, not 1, but 2 10 kilowatt solar arrays. There'll be 20 kilowatts on the platform.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Seriously awesome. Seriously. Yeah, so, we've talked about the Starship Singularity a couple times before, and how that idea came about was Michael Mealing and I's conversation about how no one was planning for large capacity launches in space. And then these guys come along and they're like, we're going to build for large capacity in space. They're the only guy, they're the only game in town. No one else is doing anything like it.
Right.
I know that the folks at Gravitics sized their space station capsule to fit in the nose cone. I think it was for a Falcon. No, it was for Starship. I think they sized it for Starship, but they were sizing for big things.
Yeah.
I got a question to ask you though. Okay, at the very top of this, article, I'm going to read some of it. K2 Space is close to a $250 million Series C funding round that values the company at $3 billion as it prepares to field a new generation of high-power satellites. All right. They've got cool pictures. They've got a big factory. They are doing a paradigm shift to the industry, so that's all to their favor.
Mm-hmm.
But can you justify a $3 billion valuation for a company that has not flown anything?
Well, let's see, a couple things. First off, this latest round is a Series C. It doesn't say here what the A and B was.
No, it does. Further down, this round follows $500 million in signed contracts. Oh, well,
that's
all right.
Signed
so we
contracts. That was the second thing I was going to bring up.
Yeah. So it's a 6x on revenue, so that's not bad. All right, but that's a pretty high valuation for a company that has not flown.
But yet. You know what? This has been happening a lot.
It has.
And you and I have been reporting on this for months now.
Mm-hmm,
People, all sorts of with impossible paper valuations going off the planet, literally. And these guys are raising huge amounts of money. God, I can't add it up in my head how many billions we're talking about. That just you and I have reported, and that's not everything.
Yep.
The year-end show I'm going to be doing. It's I'm going to have to find all those numbers and actually put them out there as one number. This is what we reported on this year. It's huge.
It's so big. It's actually kind of hard to understand it. We're going to talk about it later in the show, but JP Morgan has, Sean's saying I think it's 1.8 trillion. JP Morgan has started deploying their $1.5 trillion, of which a pretty big chunk of that is going to space.
Yeah.
And then that's on top of all the other things we've been reporting, billion-dollar transactions, multi-billion-dollar. No, it's crazy. It really is. I'm gonna comment to Jason about General Purdy is an advocate of K2. General Purdy is I think he's the undersecretary of the Air Force and for space acquisitions, if I remember his title correctly. So he is a big dog that is trying to get some really cool stuff built. But Jason, I'll remind you, and I would love to remind General Purdy, that a couple years ago they said they were going to get away from exquisite targets in space. They wanted smaller things that were less attractive as targets. So this does go a little bit backwards in time by having these giant platforms. So anyway, it's amazing how much money there is. It's boggling how much money there is in our sector now.
And we still got a couple of weeks till the end of the year. You never know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, did you ever imagine we would be unable to calculate how much money is in the sector now? Like
20 years ago, when we started all this advocacy stuff, there was nothing.
Nothing. Right.
There's a few guys with wild ideas and a few bucks.
Right. Yeah.
And now here we are.
All right, let's move on.
Well, this is the thing. This is just a quick one. I just noticed it because I thought it was interesting. It says private capital targets mission critical software, power, and platforms in the new space economy. What they're really saying is there's a lot of infrastructure type stuff that gets built that usually ends up getting built on the government dime, whether it's NASA or Defense Department or somebody else. But now all of a sudden there's some capital companies, private capital and venture companies, and they're actually directing new private capital into more core infrastructure across the board and up and down the supply chain. Axel Points made a strategic equity investment in Odyssey Space, which is a flight software and engineering firm. Valerian took stake in Antares. We're going to talk about Antares again soon. Yep. And Valar Atomics. There's all sorts of interesting stuff going on, and private sector finance is starting to pick up on it, which I think says a lot.
It does, yeah.
For the industry as a whole. Okay, yeah, it's safe enough that we can get a piece of this too.
Right. Yeah. I don't really have a whole lot more to add about this one, but it is kind of neat to see the world moving our direction.
It is. Well, here's the next one. We're going to figure this one out together. I haven't had time to read it. This next one is as investors commit $250 million to a startup designing what they call giga satellites.
This is the same as the one we just So,
is it really?
So the article we just had.
Oh God! Okay,
same company, same everything. Yeah. No, it's the same thing. Same topic, different take on it.
I was saying on my face thing because this one's actually better written.
It is. No, it was like mega then giga, right? So the article we just saw had the mega side, and then that's the thing that they're building is going towards that bigger
giga satellites. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, they're building mega and giga.
Yep. I like this line though. I'm glad you actually put this up. Like, don't feel bad about it because I'm glad I wanted to talk about this one because I think he's the CEO, Kunjar. He says, our North Star is simple. If we build these platforms well, we get to ask new questions about what's possible in orbit. And as a guy trying to build an elevator on the moon, that's exactly the kind of thinking I want to see. Like precisely exactly the kind of thinking I want to see. I would today call them if I had, any dollars in the checking account that was worthwhile, I would call them and put in an order because I need what they're building. And I'm happy to say that, right? That they will have to be a partner of ours if we can possibly be successful.
Good.
So
good.
Redesign what's possible in orbit. That's exactly what it is. So I'm glad you put this article in.
Okay. Next up, interesting in the world of space solar, a U.S. Star Overview Energy. They've now proven, they claim, that their solar power beaming satellite system works while in motion, which is a first for high power wireless energy transmission.
Right.
And they want to do megawatt transmission from space by 2030. They have an interesting rendering on this story. So they're out of stealth mode, and there's another company founded 3 years ago.
Yep. I know one of their advisors, Dr. Paul Jaffe. Jaffe has been first he was at the Naval Research Lab. And then he went on to DARPA. He just finished 20 or 30-year career in the government, and he came on as an advisor to Overview. So he brings a lot of, I would say, gravitas to what they're doing. He has been studying this problem since the beginning, and it goes all the way back to Colonel Smith and Lieutenant Colonel Garretson and their early studies. And that might have been 2006. Like, seriously, Jaffe's been at this for 20 years along with Garretson and Kyrie Smith and a couple others. So it's kind of neat to see them actually come out of in public. I knew that Jaffe was doing something interesting once he retired. I wasn't sure exactly what. Yeah. But what I was interested in is that they've raised $20 million and that there are several other companies in the industry, right? That there are 4 space-based solar power companies. I worked for one that was straight up a scam. I worked for him for 4 months. I had my first "I quit, you're fired" conversation on day number 3. I had the second one.
Oh my God!
2 weeks after that, and I stayed for a total of 4 months. And I'm like, I'm out. Right. And that was 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
And those guys were super sketch. I'm not going to name them, but
yeah.
So I'm excited that there's 4 serious companies in this sector. So you can say it's a cult. You've been talking about the cult of the space elevator and the cult of the space-based solar power, but I'm definitely rooting for these folks.
Well, only because of the way they were pitching it all these years.
Yeah,
right. Space solar would happen sooner or later, but I didn't think it happened until the 2030s.
Yeah.
And here we are almost to the 2030s, and it's starting to happen. Well, okay. I'm not wrong. Right. So yet. But the lean 20 million and they're already getting those kinds of milestones. That's a lean and mean operation. And I, of course, appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot. That's pretty good.
One other thing to point is that they're I don't know most of these funding companies, but the Aurelia Institute is that's Dr. Ariel Eckblau's group out of MIT. And they're really interested in big infrastructure in space. Eckblau has pioneered like Lego-like connectors for large platforms in space. So they have a natural connection to this. Like, they want to see large systems in space with Lego built construction. So yeah, pretty happy about this.
I'm familiar with Earthrise and Prime Movers. Okay. So it's a good group they pulled together.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I will point out though, they did not get to space to do this. They were doing this via an airplane. So so yes, it's a moving target. It's not a moving target, it's a moving platform. Doing it in space is definitely the next hard step, but
that's the next thing they want to demonstrate next year. Yeah.
Pretty happy about that. I got into space because of space-based solar power, so I like seeing that grow.
But not far behind. If you're not as sanguine about space solar, we got micro reactors.
Yeah,
and those are jumping on board big time with money for that. And Terry's just lined up 96 mil to a Series B to support deployment of their micro reactors for basically defense and space customers. But I could see those used elsewhere, right back home here.
Right.
And so it's 71 million in new equity and 25 million in debt earmarked for equipment purchases, factory build out, and uranium procurement. There you go. Well, you kind of need that, I guess.
What's the purchase order for that? We would like.
Yeah, they're not building. They're not building. Molten salt thorium stuff yet. So they're gonna do what they know. But they're months away from their first demonstration, which will validate everything they've done, and then and produce a prototype in 27. So they've already raised 130 mil.
Crazy.
Date.
Two years old. and
I
then go to
know another one. Here we
130.
go again. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But they get a crap ton of money really early on, and then boom, you get to do all sorts of stuff. But they want to produce 10 of these units a year.
Boggling.
I know. But they're not, but it'll still be 2028 before they actually are targeted for deployment. It'll take them a while.
Sure.
But I love this one guy, Shine General Capital Partner. He said, "No nuclear startup has turned on a fission reactor this century." And Terry's is poised to achieve this milestone in 2026. Well, it's about time, I said.
Right.
Yeah.
Fun. All right, what do we got next?
Deorbit.
Yeah. Okay.
You know who those guys are, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they've had a couple of transportation milestones, and I thought it was just interesting to note they passed a 200 payload milestone. I didn't know they'd done that many.
Yeah, I don't understand what that means exactly. I was reading that and it didn't actually make sense because they have not launched 200 times. Of that I'm sure. So is it that they have multiple pieces of cargo that they're counting each one as a separate, I don't know, 200 satellites? Like,
I thought these guys main job was to bring stuff back. That's what they call it, deorbit.
Yeah.
And so, but they've delivered 200 payloads to orbit as opposed to from orbit, which is the word I was expecting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have a what do they call it? They have a tugboat capability, right? The space tug capability. So I wonder if that's what they're talking about. That they move things.
Could be.
I'm a little perplexed by this. I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at this thing, and they talk about the missions they're deploying and the payloads, and there's all this great stuff that they're involved with. It's very little about how they're doing it. They're launching some Spire stuff soon.
Yeah,
which is another one of our poster child companies.
Yeah.
And they've got they're adding more acronyms. The launch and early orbit phase, LEOP.
Right, that's what the world needs. more acronyms. Yep. I
thought deorbit would have deorbited more stuff than anybody else, but maybe they have.
No, I think they're doing a lot of. Well, let's move on because it's a little bit peculiar.
More money.
I
wish I had some more money. Here's the Luxembourg government,
right?
Paid in its share, I guess, to ESA and the EU. They've committed 265.1 million euros, which is just under 300 million US dollars for their space programs. Mostly just two of them. The ESA programs and something called Lux Impulse.
So Lux Impulse is part of their innovation fund. And I want to point out, this is not new money for Luxembourg. Luxembourg has been building out space companies for at least the last 10 years, maybe the last 15 years. And they've easily put $1 billion into space companies in the last the last 10 years. Yeah, 100 million a year for 10 years. Yeah, that feels about right. They do have a link in here. I'm actually going to shout it out. It's spaceresources.lu.
Okay.
It's worth going to. I went to it several years ago. I didn't have a reason to.
Doing something you like.
But it's a really good resource, and they have annual, and I think maybe it's twice a year meetings that are worth going to that I have not. I don't fly to Europe very often, so I haven't done that.
Right.
Other folks I know are going out there, and it's
but the output the output of some of the companies in this sector in Luxembourg has reached over 2 billion euros, but
Yeah.
that's largely driven by SES.
Yeah, that's not
With
fair.
my good friend Candace Johnson, the founder and head of it, is that company's Luxembourg based, and so I mean, you just figure the way Luxembourg is structured, there's a lot of money,
Yeah.
whether it's going to space or not, flows through Luxembourg at one time or another. When it's not London, it's Luxembourg.
Well,
So
that's what they wanted to do, was become basically the registry of space assets, especially resources. In the same way that Panama and the Bahamas are registries for ships, Luxembourg wanted to be a registry for space. Oh, here's what I was looking for.
okay.
Over the period of 2022 to 2024, the number of companies in the sector has risen from 67 to 81. A decade earlier, which is when they started, a decade earlier in 2012, there were 16 companies. So they've really put a lot of effort into this, and they've been doing it consistently for years. Tom, do you remember they came out to the New Space Conference, Space Frontier Foundation's New Space Conference? I think it was the year that you set up the Center for Space Commerce and Finance as a separate organization.
Well, we did that over 2016, and then in 2017 we started doing events.
Okay, so they came out
years later. Now we did do in 2019. We did have a new space conference, on South Shore of Lake Washington there.
Yeah,
and we did a.
They were there.
We did a BPC and a Space Investment Summit.
Yep,
that weekend. So
yeah, they were there for that one too. Yeah, okay. They've been supporting the new space sector for years.
Yep.
So cool for Luxembourg. So all right, but put this in perspective. It's 115 million for Luxembourg's commercial sector, but we just saw Germany, Berlin, put in 40 billion for 5 years. Yep. So yeah, I'm like, well, nice try, Luxembourg, but I'm moving to Berlin.
Yeah. Well, those are the inputs. Now, we'll see what the outputs look like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that'll be the other interesting part, because as Jason asks here, the fund's got to have a pathway to investment. And what's that pathway? But also, what he's not saying is he also needs they need a pathway to exit, which we always ask about. And I don't see what those are right now, except,
well, so
it's not all too much.
So we had Lee Steinke on our show maybe 4 months ago. She was with Sislinger Industries. Sislinger Industries got their start from money from Luxembourg to start building out basically trash can services in orbit. How do we gobble up trash, space trash, turn it into ingots, and turn those ingots into energy? That's where Sislinger Industries got their start, which is how I know so much about the Luxembourg government. Is they funded the earliest days. They didn't keep funding, and there wasn't anywhere else to go, so they didn't pursue Luxembourg. But that's how they got started. And also, we had Dallas Beanhoff on the show a couple weeks ago. Offworld got some of their early dollars from. Lee is.
You're right. Yes, Lee Steinke is awesome. She absolutely is.
So Offworld Industries, the robotics group, the mining robotics group, they got their money from Luxembourg also. So they've been writing checks for a long time.
Okay, all right. What else do we have? Oh, here's an interesting thing. This is interesting. And I actually looked it up. I actually looked up their ticker symbol. It's not crashing down as you think, but it was a significant sell-off. It started last week. Virgin Galactic Holdings and they were
Right.
trending downward, and they're still trending downward. They have remained unprofitable for a long time. And now I've got this ad in front of me. I can't read anything anymore.
Yeah, we're Sean and I are both having the same problems on our side
Okay.
too.
I was just reading this stuff. I was reading it earlier today, and now all of a sudden
Right. Yep. Now it's a paywall. Yep. I'm seeing it right now. Well, the short version is, from what we can remember, is they changed some of their financing to put them more in line with when they expect people to actually fly, which is closer to 2027. And because they restated their potential earnings, people are like, and I'm done, right? People are just done with this company. So I hope that this doesn't hurt them.
Well, they're trying to pay off a bunch of debt. They have like 170 million in debt or something. They're trying to take care of some of that.
Yeah.
And get their books back in order.
Right.
Right now, SPCE it closed today down 0.22, so it's 3.02.
Right.
And that's down from 4.58 just, like a month ago.
Yeah, go back in time to about 4 years ago. Weren't they in the 30s? Weren't they in the 20s? 27, 26, something in that range?
Well, year to date, actually, December of last year, they were trading at 7.
Okay. All right. So that's not good. That's not good.
So if you go a whole year, they're down about 60%.
Yeah. But yeah, it's come down like 80% since Bezos made his first flight. Branson made his first flight. So, you got to wonder if this company has a future or not. I personally think it probably does. I wasn't thrilled when they cut Whitesides and put in his place a Disney executive. That felt like kind of stabbed him in the back a little. But
there are things I could say. I'm just not going to say them. It's the holiday season, and I'm trying to be.
But I do have some hope for this company. Like, as an idea, I still think they're on the right path. I just don't love their execution.
Yeah.
I think this is the fastest way to get us to point-to-point suborbital, even though they have really screwed up. Like, this company goes all the way back to October 4th. What year was it? 2005 when the X Prize was won. So this company goes back all the way to that. Like, you and I were there on the field when that happened. We saw the pictures. We saw Rutan plus Paul Allen plus Richard Branson all pointing at the sky, and so this is a 20-year failure in the making.
Yeah,
and that's frustrating to watch. But I still think the tech is the right tech to get this to point-to-point suborbital. But now vertical rockets are going to take over, so I'm not sure where they go. But I
always thought their biggest mistake. I always thought their biggest mistake was right away. They did not retain Tim Pickens.
Right? Sure.
At the time, Tim Pickens was one of the best rocket guys in the country. His company Orion was doing really well, and he's just a downright funny guy. He just knows his stuff. God, I remember. It was that same year. I think it was 2000. No, it's 2000. It was the next year, 2005. And there was another ISDC, and we did the fancy dinner at Udvar Hazy, and it was free wine flowing.
Yeah.
And Tim Pickens and Paul Contorsi and I were all sitting at the same table. This is just not right.
Nice.
We cracked each other up so badly they threatened to throw us out. The days. Yeah.
Fun.
But he was the one that saved Spaceship One.
Yeah. He did.
It was his work on those engines that saved that spacecraft, enabled it to win the X Prize in 2004, by the way, not 5.
Yep.
But
yeah.
Oh God, those were good days though. God, because David Livingston and I did a joint show And I was on the phone in my office in Yonkers, New York, and he was on his phone in his, office in California. And we were doing this stuff. We were talking to people. It was like the good old days at the Cape. Guys have these live interviews, and they're on the radio, and you're listening to all of it like people used to. And I got to interview Miles Davis. That was the wildest thing. Miles Davis was there, and some other jazz great had brought him there. Said, "You got to see this."
Right on. That's cool. Yep. That's cool. All right, what do we got? What's
now?
Next?
We're getting into some other material. We've gotten
we
through.
Only have about 15 minutes left, so I want to be a little more choosy about which articles we go after.
Well, we got here. Well, I just wanted to. I think we didn't talk much. We had two things coming up about the old Shenzhou 20 that got hit by space junk. I didn't know how. Nobody knew how bad it was until they actually took a spacewalk and went out there and saw the windows were cracked.
Yep.
Yeah.
that can't be good.
Yeah. But they sent up another ship up there and they swapped vehicles. They made it safely back. I don't know what happens to the 20 itself. I think it doesn't
to
really
me, that's the story.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like the CST 100, How do you bring it back?
Right. Yep. What I was so impressed with, first of all, hitting debris on your way to space is a really good way to build a fence around the world so we can't get to space anymore. So that's a problem for sure. I'm not going to minimize that. What I was so impressed with was they assessed the problem, didn't dither about it, and 2 days later, they sent up an entirely new empty spacecraft so that their astronauts would not be put at risk. I really admired that. I thought that was super cool, and hats off to the Chinese for having that capability, because I don't know if we could do that. I don't think we have a spare rocket that could be provisioned in 48 hours to fly. I'm not sure we have that.
It might take a little longer. It took them a lot longer to get that crew off from the Boeing capsule because they just weren't prepared for it. It would seem to me a year plus later they would start thinking about preparing for that, because basically it was Elon Musk who pulled their pants out of
the chain. Yep. Yeah. So anyway, I really like this. I'm going to read this quote here. For the global space community, this achievement underscores the rising capabilities of China's space program, which has increasingly become a formidable force in space exploration. As China prepares for more ambitious missions, astronauts like Wu Fei will likely play a central role in the future space exploration, handling everything from emergencies to routine missions. So, yeah, they're doing great. So hats off to them. I like everything about how they handled this.
It's well-designed methodology plus execution.
Mm-hmm.
What it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's it's always going to be. We've always, I won't say we're seat of the pants in this country. Even in Apollo, I mean, what happened with Apollo 13 had some seat of the pants elements to it. But once they focused on the goal, the precision was actually pretty darn good.
Sure.
Because that's how
I wish we had the same focus now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So get Jared in there and, getting Greg behind him.
Get
it going. Get it going.
They voted for, what's it called? Cloture, whatever that phrase is, to officially vote on him. So that's in process. Fingers crossed.
Good. I hope we all get a Christmas present in a couple of weeks.
Right on.
Okay. There's another China thing. This is from last week. We have a bunch of stuff that we stacked up because we have a cancellation of the show, and so. But since we're doing a new show tonight, we can do all of it. That's kind of what's going on. But China broke a record. They had 3 Long March rocket launches in a single 19-hour stretch.
That is bonkers.
So that beat SpaceX.
It does.
Because
Yeah.
they did 3 in 24 hours
Right.
from 3 different sites.
Yep. But who's counting? We're counting. I'm counting.
Yep.
China's
Yep.
counting.
This is all bragging rights,
SpaceX
right?
is counting. Right.
Yep.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. So I would not be get an update from SpaceX that they got 3 rockets in 8 years. I would not be surprised if that happens. Somebody's
Right.
going to do that.
That's true. That's true.
What are you giggling about?
We only have
Sean. Sure.
do this. Boom. We got that. Boom. There's our record. Okay, what's next? Oh, I always want to call them in case you missed it. ICEYE. They European company.
Right.
They in case you missed it, they raised 150 million euros to expand the intelligence. That's and then that valued their company at 2.4 billion euros. And they're doing sovereign, get that word, synthetic aperture radar satellite systems and data intelligence services for government and institutional customers.
How many times have we been talking about sovereignty this year? And it's coming straight out of Germany, by the way. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. This article.
Yep. Well, actually, this is a Series E round.
Yeah.
It's an E round, no less. So, so it's coming from Denmark, France, a family office in Poland, Finland. The new financings come from. And probably some of their previous rounds are probably from Germany too, I'm sure.
Yeah. Damn impressive. Yeah. Yeah, synthetic aperture radar is a pretty great tech. It can almost see things that are invisible. It's hard to get. It sees through cloud cover really well. It sees through plants and trees really well. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting tech.
Yeah. They say their image resolutions are 16 centimeters. So
wow, I did not see that.
Yep. And I guess that's pretty darn good. But just don't watch those thriller movies, because those thriller movies will have you believe they have 1 centimeter image resolution. So It's never going to be that tight in our lifetime. But 16 centimeters is pretty good by the standards of today. Yes.
Yeah. No, I missed that. That is actually a really big deal. That's a really big deal. Yeah. Yeah.
So here's an interesting one. I love to see commentary on this. It's all on the topic of orbital debris. Mm-hmm. And there's somebody here that says space operators urged to share costs of clearing orbital debris. And it goes into a big thing over things. So how do we get rid of it? And there's a call now to oblige either nations or commercial operators to help pay for the cleanup, just because. And there is no enforceable international regulation or a workable polluter pays framework. And so I guess it's a cosmic free-for-all, they say. And so they published this big report just this last October in the Journal of Spacecraft and Rockets, guy named Chen. And they're trying to examine how to structure commercial services that make debris removal financially viable for both the SAT operators and remediation providers. And I see his point. I think a lot of the people, deploying stuff into space, they need to start meeting the remediation services halfway somehow.
I get that. I mean, we just did an article or a story about how China's windshield got cracked by hitting a rock, right? As it goes to orbit. I kind of wonder what our guest from last week, Dr. Hanlon, would say about this, because she's definitely about maintaining orbits and keeping stuff out. I don't know how you, as a global commons, I don't know how you enforce this.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I know. I've got this app. I think I showed it to you that
Yeah.
actually, looks at the objects in space, but also
Yeah.
the one that I paid for actually showed orbital paths of all sorts of large size space junk. And at the time I first used it, I found there was an upper stage of an Atlas rocket that had been launched in 1963. It's still
Mm-hmm.
up there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and a lot of stuff from the 80s and 90s
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hate to be a doomsayer, but that's one of the reasons why I lost confidence in getting the Earth elevator built was because of all the stuff
Junk.
that's there.
Yeah, you have to make the thing vibrate like a guitar string sometimes in order to,
Yeah, Pete Swan and his team, and probably Morty also, they looked at some stuff about just making the section of the ribbon wider in the debris field so it could just take more individual hits. To me, that never felt like a solution.
that's just, yeah, my
Uh,
gut tightens when I hear that. That
yeah.
just, right.
Um, but the worst problem is we don't even have an accurate way of tracking the stuff that's up there. We know the stuff that's the size of a softball, but we don't know the stuff that's the size of a golf ball, and we don't know the
Or a quarter.
size of the stuff smaller, right?
Yeah.
So there's some estimates that there's millions of objects up there, millions of objects, and they're not trackable with current technology.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And I don't know how you can just go out there and cast a big net,
well,
and get them all.
Professor Chen that wrote the report, he says, and we have over 100 million objects smaller than 1 centimeter in orbit. 100 million, right? Like that's a boggling number.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah.
We're going to have to come up with a new way of collecting this stuff and then resmelting it up there to use for something else.
That was Cislunar Industries' original business model, was to do exactly that,
which I think is brilliant, and I hope they can pull it off.
Me too.
Because the thing is, most of this stuff isn't metal. It's metal, but it's not iron or steel based, and so you can't just put a big magnet up there,
right,
and match orbits with a bunch of the debris and turn on this big electromagnet and then just suck it all in. And bring it down, because it's not, it's aluminum, it's titanium, it's other pieces of exotic bits that,
non-ferrous, it's not going to go and stick to it.
Yep.
All right. In our last minutes here, I'm excited about this Fortune article about Jamie Dimon and connecting to JP Morgan's, not a typo, 1.5 trillion with a T national security initiative. We broke this news a couple, maybe 2 months ago now, because I've, at a very, very minor level, I've got a very, very minor inside track on some of the stuff that's happening at JP Morgan. And I got notified about this the day that it was announced, and a big chunk of this $1.5 trillion money is going to space, right? But the list of people that JP Morgan has brought on, you got Jeff Bezos, so he did okay with Amazon, but what I care about is Blue Origin, right? You've got Michael Dell talking about compute power. I don't know why they brought in, I'm sure I know why they brought in the Ford Motor Company, but Johnson & Johnson, General Dynamics. But yeah, they're bringing in big names to help shepherd this money. I'm super impressed by this, right? And we've talked about before that probably maybe 10%, maybe 20% of this money is going to go into the space sector. So, yeah, I'm watching this fund very closely.
Right.
Yeah, I have high hopes.
And while we're watching it, let's try to figure out how to tap into it somehow.
I'm trying. I am trying.
We can do here for the center, for your stuff.
Yep.
I mean,
right. Yep.
Yeah.
My guy there, he says, we're JP Morgan. We don't even get out of bed for $25 million.
Right. Right.
They deployed $7 billion this week for a zinc factory. Apparently, some folks in Korea want to set up a zinc processing plant here in Washington State. And so that was their first deployment out of this new fund.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are some smart folks they put on this system. So
huge money, which we keep reporting. I guess if you stick around, folks, for our end of the year show, we're going to add it all up for you and tell you just exactly how much we're talking about, and you will be boggled. And on that note, Michael, our next on Thursday, Wes Fairs returns to the program, who I'm sure will offer yet another interesting take on property rights in the high frontier. And boy, do we have some probing questions for him. That's going to be a lot of fun. As always, 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday night. And from the news desks, from the Center for Space Commerce and Finance, for Michael Lane and Sean Key, this has been Thomas Andrew Olson. Keep watching the skies.